When someone leaves you, especially for someone else, the way you respond in those first few moments, days, and weeks says everything about who you are. And more importantly, it decides whether they remember you with peace, indifference, or deep regret. See, when a man thinks he can walk away from you and walk straight into someone else's arms, what he's really thinking is that you'll be waiting when he gets bored, that you'll still be there if it doesn't work out, that he can come back when he realizes the grass wasn't greener. But here's the brutal truth. Your reaction in that moment has the power to shut that entire fantasy down. The second you react with desperation, with why her? What did I do wrong? How could you? You confirm the very reason he thought he could leave in the first place, because you've placed your value in his hands. That emotional breakdown, that flurry of texts, that need for answers, all of it feeds his ego. It tells him he still has you on a string. And that's why most people who get left behind never get the last word, because they keep showing up in a way that says, you still have power over me. But when you go quiet, when you don't reach out, when you don't argue, when you don't try to win him back or show him what he's missing, everything shifts. Because silence isn't weakness, it's power, it's mystery, it's self-respect turned all the way up. And suddenly the person who thought they could walk away without consequence is now left wondering, why isn't she reacting? Does she not care? Did I misjudge her value? Did I just lose something I'll never get back? That's when the regret starts to seep in, not because you demanded it, but because you created space for it to exist. You didn't fight, you didn't beg, you just walked away. And that scares the hell out of someone who expected. Here's the deeper truth. Your reaction becomes your legacy in someone's mind. They will remember how you made them feel when they made their most selfish decision. If you crumble, they'll see weakness. If you explode, they'll see emotional instability. But if you stay calm, disappear, and invest all that energy back into yourself, they'll see something they weren't ready for, your worth. And it's in that contrast between what they thought you'd do and what you actually did that the seed of regret is planted. Because while they were off seeking attention, ego boosts, or temporary validation, you were evolving. You weren't watching them, you were watching yourself grow. And whether it takes weeks, months, or years, the day will come when they'll look back and realize they didn't just lose someone who cared, they lost someone irreplaceable. But here's the twist. By then, you'll be so far gone in your healing, your confidence, your peace, that their regret won't matter anymore. You won't be waiting, you won't be hoping, you'll be thriving. And if they ever do come crawling back, it won't be because you begged. It'll be because your silence made more noise than your presence ever did. So don't react emotionally. Don't try to convince anyone to see your worth. Just walk away like someone who knows what they bring to the table and who refuses to eat with anyone who choose to dine elsewhere. That energy, that's unforgettable. And that's what makes them beg to, when someone leaves you for another person, it feels like a punch to the soul. It's not just the loss, it's the comparison, the sudden wave of questions. Was she prettier, more fun, more exciting? What did I lack? But here's the truth that most people never understand in the moment. They didn't leave because someone else was better. They left because they were chasing something that looked different, not something that was better. It wasn't about your worth. It was about their restlessness, their immaturity, or their inability to recognize what they had. People don't usually walk away from real love for deeper connection. They walk away for escape, for ego, for novelty, or the illusion of something new and exciting that hasn't had the time to show its cracks yet. That person he left you for, she's not better, she's just new. And new feels good when someone is trying to run from accountability or the work it takes to grow a real relationship. But here's the secret: new doesn't last, because eventually the newness fades, the sparkle wears off. And when it does, all those unresolved issues that caused them to run in the first place come rushing back. Meanwhile, while he's chasing distraction, you have a choice. You can sit in the pain, obsess over what she has that you don't, or you can realize he just let go of something real for something temporary. And in that moment, you win without ever saying a word. You win by choosing not to compete. You win by refusing to shrink. You win by not getting caught in a game that was never yours to play in the first place. And here's the beautiful twist: the very thing he left you for, that freedom, that fantasy, that spark, is the thing he'll eventually find hollow. And when that day comes, he'll remember you. He'll remember your consistency, your softness, your strength, your loyalty. He'll remember the woman who never needed to be flashy, to be unforgettable. And he'll realize he traded a diamond for glitter. So by then, he'll be a different woman, a healed woman, a woman who no longer needs validation from the man who couldn't see her value the first time. You won't want revenge. You'll be too at peace. You won't want to show him what he lost. You'll be too busy living like you never lost anything at all. So don't get stuck comparing yourself to the woman he chose. That's not your lane. She's not your competition. You are your own standard. Your growth, your healing, your silence, that's the power move. And that's exactly what makes you unforgettable. Because eventually, when the excitement wears off and the masks fall away, he'll realize the truth. One of the most misunderstood and underestimated power moves you can ever make after being left is emotional and energetic detachment. Not silence for show, not pretending you're over it while stalking their socials at 2 a.m. I'm talking about a real grounded detachment where your soul unhooks itself from theirs and you stop being available in all the invisible ways they've come to expect, because whether they admit it or not, they still feel your energy. They feel your attention. They feel your emotional presence. And the moment you pull that away is the moment the dynamic begins to shift. See, when someone leaves you, they often assume they still own you emotionally, that they can move on, enjoy someone new, and still keep your attention lingering behind like background music, always there, quietly playing in case they ever want to press rewind. They expect you to be watching. They expect you to be hurting. They expect to still live rent-free in your head. And most of all, they expect you to keep reacting, whether it's with anger, pain, jealousy, sadness. Any reaction keeps the connection alive. But here's the truth. The opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. And when you start showing that, not performatively, but genuinely, it rattles them in ways you can't imagine. Because now they're no longer the center of your story. They're no longer the source of your emotions. You've unplugged from their energy completely. No texts, no passive-aggressive stories, no checking if they've seen your posts. Just gone. That emptiness, it speaks louder than words. Because suddenly they don't feel you anymore. And that absence becomes haunting. You see, as long as they can still feel your emotional investment, they don't have to question their decision. They don't feel the weight of losing you, because in their mind, you're still there. still orbiting, still caring. But when you pull your energy back and focus it inward, when you start pouring that love, that effort, that time into your own healing and evolution, you become scarce, and scarcity creates value. Now they start to wonder, why isn't she reaching out? She moved on. Did I miscalculate her love for me? Did she actually mean what she said when she let me go? And those questions turn into thoughts that spiral. That spiral turns into regret. And regret is what makes them come back. Not because you asked, but because you let go. Here's what you have to understand. No amount of chasing, explaining, or reacting will ever bring someone back in a meaningful way. That energy repels. It smells like desperation. And people don't chase what's already chasing them. But detachment, that's attractive. That's mysterious. That's strong. It says, I don't need you to validate me. I don't need closure. I don't need to prove anything. And that energy is addictive because people always want what they can't quite reach anymore. And here's the beauty of it all. By the time they come back, by the time they finally feel that absence and start crawling towards your energy again, you'll be standing in a new version of yourself. One that doesn't need the apology, one that doesn't even need the return, because you've healed, you've grown, you've detached, and now you're choosing who gets access to you, not from pain, but from power. To stop watching, stop reacting, and start withdrawing. Pull your energy back so far that the only thing he can feel is your absence, because that absence, that's what makes him miss you. That's what makes him remember. And that's what makes him realize you are never replaceable. I'm going to hit key for next. That one's a masterclass in quiet power. The impact of when someone leaves you for someone else, the instinct to speak up, defend yourself, or even fight for the relationship can feel overwhelming. You want to be understood. You want closure. You want them to realize they made a mistake. But here's the truth. Nothing you say in that moment will matter more than what you don't say. Silence, combined with unwavering self-respect, speaks volumes. It disrupts the expectation. It shakes the ego. It's not loud, but it's deafening. Most people will expect drama when they do something hurtful. They expect crying, yelling, begging, or emotional outbursts because that response gives them a sense of importance. It makes them feel powerful, even validated. She's so upset. I must have meant a lot. It feeds the ego and reaffirms their position in your world. But when you don't give them that, when you hold your head high, walk away, and say nothing at all, that silence becomes uncomfortable. It creates space. And in that space, they're left to face the truth of their own actions without your voice to distract them from it. You don't chase. You don't try to convince. You don't throw your worth at someone who chose someone else. And that quiet strength, that's the plot twist they never saw coming, because silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. It's saying, I don't argue with people who already made their choice. I respect myself too much to compete with someone you chose over me. And that response isn't passive, it's powerful. Because now, instead of feeding their ego, you're starving it. And that's when doubt creeps in. Silence forces them to ask questions. Why isn't she fighting for me? Did she not care as much as I thought? Has she already moved on? That uncertainty, it lingers, it haunts. And the longer you stay silent, the louder those questions become in their mind. Because in a world where everyone overshares, over-explains, and overreacts, your calm detachment becomes magnetic. And let's be clear, this isn't about manipulation. It's not about playing games. It's about standing in your dignity. It's about recognizing that your worth isn't up for negotiation, that you don't have to raise your voice to prove your value. You show it by what you don't tolerate, by how quickly you walk away when someone shows you they don't see you clearly. You don't need to announce your silence. You don't need a big "I'm done" message. You just disappear from their world like someone who is never meant to be underestimated. And when they realize the chaos they chose doesn't hold a candle to the peace they left behind, that's when regret takes over. Not because you made a scene, but because you didn't. And if they come back, if they reach out after feeling your absence and realizing what they lost, you'll be in a different space. You'll know that silence wasn't about revenge. It was about reclamation, reclaiming your peace, your boundaries, your sense of self. Because begging for clarity, chasing someone who replaced you, that's not love. That's self-abandonment. And the moment you choose yourself instead of the chase is the moment you reclaim every ounce of power they tried to strip away. So stay silent, stay centered, let your self-respect do the talking. Because in the end, silence isn't empty. It's full of every word you didn't waste on someone who didn't deserve it.